Beautiful Dream. The Catcher in the Rye, published in 1951 by JD Salinger, is one of my favorite pieces of literature. Holden, who wears that red hunting cap and chain smokes his way around New York City, may have read it in high school or in passing. May have not been your favorite, but for me it holds a special place in my heart. Recently I decided to reread it because of a manhwa named Windbreaker. Not the manga, which recently got an adaptation, but a manhwa with fury of bikers and years of pent-up revenge. I recommend both manhwa and the story. Both will have a subtle impact on you for similar but also very different reasons. I'd also like to say that when I wrote this, I guess, piece, Windbreaker was still going on, but it has just recently been axed for plagiarism issues. So I guess, yeah, there's that. That's a warning in case any of you want to read it. Starting here, there may be spoilers for both, so you have been warned. Both characters in the manhwa and book are trapped in worlds they aren't terribly fond of. One facing loss while being lost but his place in the world, and the other being lost while trying to protect his younger sibling. Both just want to be the catcher in the rye for those who are about to fall. To start, I'll quickly talk about Windbreaker. It takes 455 chapters to get the reference, but it is beautiful. There are two characters, Kazuma, who's trying to provide for his little sister by throwing races for money, Mahone, who is not particularly good at biking, has no real goals, but this changes when he catches an idol, I'll say, Kazuma throwing races for money. He confronts him with thugs, getting slightly beaten up, but it doesn't turn out too bad, and we get a very intimate moment between the two expressing their bond as friends, slash brothers, but also the quote to the Catcher in the Rye. I keep picturing all these little kids playing some game in this big field of rye. Thousands of little kids and nobody's around, and I'm standing on the edge of some crazy cliff. I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. That's all I do all day. I'd just be the catcher in the rye. I know it's crazy, but that's the only thing I'd really like to be. And they begin to climb to the top together, change the correct world for everyone and the children. That's how I'll end that part to not give too much spoilers. But I think that's such a simple yet beautiful dream, and it sticks with me, because it's not glamorous or anything. Seeing Holden just rub fuck yous off everything so children wouldn't see it, finding something hurt inside yourself and trying to protect it for others. I think Holden says it best, not his exact word, but when he's calling some of these other professions phonies. If that's what you seek, I think you should go after it. But, it doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes the most beautiful dreams are the simple ones. Both characters are confused and in pain, but want so much for the world to be pure. To be lost in a place you've always known. To diverge back to the Catcher in the Rye. Holden strives for nothing and is just constantly getting in trouble, which is how he gets to wandering New York after being kicked out of school. I remember hearing this criticism that someone couldn't really feel bad for him because of his status. Holden is not perfect, he is wealthy. Or at least well off. But we are all human and face the world in different ways, but equally all have issues. Even with his aimlessness, he still seeks to protect the pure from the impure, while he rubs out curse words out of things so children can't see it. It's almost as if he had this childlike sense of wonder in view of the world, such as when he starts pretending he's been shot and needs to hide while dying nobly, or asks where the ducks go in the winter to the taxi man, and then himself going to check them out. I thought that was like a nice scene. Equally reaching out for others, out for someone who would just listen and not shut him out, even though he's pushing people away, as well as being somewhat hot-tempered, of course. I think Mr. Anatoly, although weird, gave Holden the best advice about himself and the world, and I feel it's something people experience at least a bit. Mr. Anatoly talks about how Holden is falling, and he's going through a terrible fall where there is no bottom. There is no hard spot to take it all away. There is no hard spot to take it all away quickly. Just a slow burn of going deeper down the rabbit hole and not knowing where you'll end up. And he simply needs to find the size of his mind, which is interesting despite coming from a creepy man who was patting his head. Holden has a hard time finding anything he likes, just getting lost in his mind. I myself probably in the worst way relate to Holden being lost. I enjoy how he writes, maybe not being the most reliable narrator, sporadic, but he's honest. At least in this story, he's authentic in his pain and his confusion, writing his mind on a piece of paper. He's lost in New York. He's lost in the New York he's always known. That hasn't changed, but he himself has, and so the times. He's lost his brother. His other brother is off writing. His sister is growing up. He's getting kicked out of school after school. He's surrounded by so many people, and yet he feels none understand him, nor does he understand himself properly, just wandering his memories until he can't any longer. It's okay to be lost, it's okay to be stuck, even if you've known something your whole life, or a decent chunk. You may get clarity, you may not, but at some point you'll be able to get through it. Holden, Salinger, encapsulates all these strange and complex emotions perfectly at the end, with the final single line. Don't ever tell anybody anything. If you do, you start missing everybody. And that's The Catcher in the Rye. I think that's why this book stuck with me as much as it did. Just because of Holden's pure authenticity and his character. I don't know, especially when I guess first read it. I was in high school, and how he acted and his view of the world really stuck with me, especially Catching the Rye. And I don't know, that dream really had an effect on me in the way I view, I guess, people. I guess, I don't know, work life as a whole. I think, I myself would like to be a catcher in the rye, going out. I don't know, not especially catching, the kids before they fall, but catching people before they fall, being, a comfortable space for others to go to in a time of need. And now, I'm not perfect, but I think there's something special about that. And I don't know, just trying to do good for the sake of good. Not really expecting something in return. At least that's kind of how I see it. Obviously, Holden's interpretation is probably very different than my own. I think it's also similar. Yeah, I don't know, that dream just really impacted me, and I think it changed the scope of how I view just dreams in general. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's the beauty of the whole book. There's especially like a few scenes where he's talking about his grave and how, he doesn't want to be buried. The end where he's just kind of watching his sister going round and round on the carousel had a real like impact on like me mentally, and I guess metaphysically, if you if you want to say that.